Good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Good? Alright. I'll slur my words a few bits. It's because I just had 4 crowns put on, so I still feel like I got punched in the mouth. Today, my presentation is going to be on the history and other related topics about the Dell Optiplex systems. Does anybody here know what a Dell Optiplex is?
It's a range of computers, pre-built.
They're business class, but yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone in here has probably worked with one before. Optiplex is a business-oriented desktop computer from Dell that is aimed towards corporate, government, and education markets. The systems typically contain Intel CPUs, beginning with the Pentium, and currently one of the core microarchitectures, which would be the i3, the i5, the i7. Although some Dell models are sold with AMD CPUs as well. The business-oriented components such as gigabit Ethernet and software such as data protection utilities often come standard with Dell Optiplex systems. Optiplex is a portmanteau to, or I don't know how to say that word. Opti meaning optimal and plex meaning parts or units. There's a lot of form factors and chassis that these come with. For example, the NX1. This is NX1 specific chassis. So the small form factor, the low profile desktop, the mid-size desktop, and the mini tower. So here's a small but rough history of some of the models that have come through the ages, starting from, they started their business in 1995, but this one starts at 1996 because that's when they started to come out with more mainstream computers. So the Series 2, the midnight gray, with the flip-top door or transformer door known as the clamshell. They're a little bit older. They also come in the ultra small form factor, regular small form factor, small desktop, and mini tower. They can be anywhere from 24 inches to 9.9 inches to 3.57 inches to 4 inches, and the mini tower 16 inches tall. And then you have your Series 3, which is the BTX line. Dell Optiplex from 2000 to 2009 used the BTX series of cases. The first model sports the new BTX case, was limited amount of GX280 computers. However, they were still mainly sold in the older cases. The first Dell Optiplex to use the BTX cases only was the Dell Optiplex GX520 and the GX620. In 2005, the last Dell Optiplex to use the BTX case was the Dell Optiplex 780 in late 2009. So we have an ultra small form factor, which is probably what we have in the classroom. We have a small form factor, which you've seen some of those on the desks, and you have the regular desktop, which I'm pretty sure everyone here at this point has had their hands inside one. You have the Series 4, which is the Dell Optiplex 960 series. They were actually made of eco-friendly recyclable plastics, which partly contributed to their gray or rough-looking texture for the plastic. In the Series 5, the Optiplex sold from 2015 onwards. These cases closely resemble the style used in Dell laptops at the same era. I don't know about you guys, but these numbers just keep climbing. Like if you look at the previous slide, just more and more numbers. Curiously, I'm actually wondering if they'll just keep on going after they hit 7,000. Will they hit 10,000, or will they just come up with a new model number? You know, starting to sound like the Super Bowl. At one point, wasn't Super Bowl like XXX VIII? It's like, did everybody stop to try to pronounce it at some point? Anyone? Anybody in here football fan? One. Okay, that exceeds my expectations. Now that I mentioned the Super Bowl, for you, you might be excited for the wrong reason now, so we're just going to continue. Unfortunately for you, one person, our respects to you. So we're going to watch a small video on the Dell Optiplex 710 series. Personally, my favorite series.
Dell's Optiplex 7010 Advanced Client Desktop powers your team with Intel's third-generation Core I processors, an option for high-speed memory and high-definition graphics. It packs up to 2 terabytes of storage and 16 gigabytes of memory in a choice of 4 different chassis, one of them being Dell's smallest business desktop with a built-in power supply. Intuitive design features like front access ports, support for voice over IP, and up to 3 monitors, and the ability to mount the unit as an all-in-one with an innovative stand solution make the 7010 the ultimate collaboration and productivity computer. It also includes Intel vPro technology to seamlessly manage endpoints out of band to help save time and money, as well as help secure your systems. The Optiplex 7010 Advanced Desktop with Intel vPro and Dell unique management extensions make the Optiplex 7010 one of the most manageable desktops.
All right. Anybody have any questions before I move on? All right. So, this wouldn't be a really good presentation about Dell if I didn't tell you anything about the other spectrum, which is security threats. There's a lot out there, and because they're so popular, everyone has them. So there are going to be a lot of people who know them inside and out, including workarounds, security flaws, and other breaches. So if you have a Dell Optiplex and you want to protect them against known or zero-day vulnerabilities that haven't been patched yet, I recommend going to CVE. They'll give you a very large list of problems that you can find with your Dell Optiplex with a rudimentary score of how dangerous the security threat is. It'll also tell you the gained access level, the complexity, the vulnerability types, and as well as the different bits of information you'll need to fix or patch the system. So if you're like me, you'll use CVE. The Dell systems are very robust, and can handle a lot of workloads on and off for decades. At least that's what they're doing in my family. My family's had Dell Optiplexes from the 620 to the 720s, and we still have them to this day. And they really know how to last a while. We've had them for a very long time, almost as old as I am, some of them. Your ideal family probably looks like this. Well, that may be true. Mine looks a little bit more like this. This is the 7010 line of Dell Optiplexes, and they're my personal favorites because I work with them a lot when I'm at my home managing servers. Very, very good systems. Did you know that Dell made phones at one point? Yeah, I didn't know that until a few days ago when I was working on this. Very interesting. The Streak, the Venue Pro, and the Venue. I'm sure someone's heard of them. Has anybody heard of these phones before? No one? I didn't think so. They didn't seem to be very popular, which is why they discontinued them. All right. Let's get into the gaming section. How many of you play video games on a Dell Optiplex? Nobody? Nobody's a budget gamer in here? Well, that's all right. Because some of you probably play on something like this, right? Anybody? Maybe that's your work computer. But, this can sometimes have the powerhouse of that. Most of you probably looking at me like, what? No way. There's no possible way. I beg to differ. Because with a little performance upgrade, you can actually get these things to play most AAA titles. It's actually very easy. All it takes is a dedicated graphics card that fits within the small form factor or mid-tower range computers. Small upgrade, small price. You can get most Optiplexes from between $100 and $300 depending on what processor and RAM you get. So, I made a bullet point list for how you can build your own budget build for home and office. Step 1, you'll need Dell Optiplex from the model years 2000 to 2019. You're going to need a good graphics card that has anywhere between 1 and 6 gigabytes of video memory with a PCI port 16, so that for compatibility. And then you got to make sure that it doesn't overuse its amount of wattage in the computer, so that you don't need to put in another power supply, because that would add to the cost. So you need to do a little research on this. Profit. Now you have a gaming computer that can play Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever video game you want. So your computer might not look like this, but at least you'll have this. Right? Because that's all what we strive for, better performance. So it might not look like this, but at least it'll look like this. Well, in an ideal world, but it'll still look like a Dell Optiplex if you go the budget route. That is going to conclude my presentation. Does anyone have any more questions before I conclude? All right.
You want an Optiplex?
I do not, but I do have a fair bunch of Optiplexes in the 7010 series line. At one point, I was installing Windows Pro on it because that was what it came with. I had to use the key so I could install it. I was going to see if I was going to run a server on it. And ironically, without upgrading a graphics card, it played Minecraft with all the settings maxed out, including render distance, and the frame rate was phenomenal. So if you're looking for a real cheap Minecraft computer that can run all the time, Dell Optiplex 7010 model is the best by far. I had an i3, had 2 cores, 8 gigs of RAM, and like a 1 terabyte hard drive. It was great. Integrated UHD graphics. You can't beat them for budget. It literally cost me $160 for that little system. And I was like, wow, if only I would have known about this many years ago when I was trying to get everybody in my family into budget gaming, but I wanted to build them. So this is very good entry level. Any other questions? No? All right, well, that is going to conclude my presentations about the history and other topics all about the Dell Optiplex.